Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the second session of our webinar series, Beyond the Bachelor, organized by the Institution of Engineering and Technology on campus at University of Peradeniya. I'm Chamali and I'll be your host for this evening. Now, our previous session focused on higher education opportunities in the USA and Canada region. And we received overwhelming responses for that session. Today, we turn our attention to Germany and Australia, another two countries renowned for their exceptional higher education systems. Now, through Beyond the Bachelor, we aim to provide clarity and guidance on the pivotal decisions of choosing the right path after completing a bachelor's degree. This evening, we will delve into personal journeys and insights of individuals who are pursuing advanced degrees in Germany and Australia. Now, their stories will offer valuable perspectives and help you make informed decisions about your future academic pursuits for sure. So again, thank you for joining us tonight, and we look forward to an engaging and enlightening session. Now, without further ado, let me invite Mr. Udara Mendis, the President of IET on Campus, University of Peradeniya, to welcome you all officially.
Good evening, everyone. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the second session of our webinar series on overseas higher studies opportunities, aptly named Beyond the Bachelor. This series is organized by the IET on Campus, University of Peradeniya, and we are excited to have such a distinguished gathering here today. First and foremost, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed speakers for today's session. Mr. Oshada Jayasinghe, PhD candidate focusing on the intersection of intelligence transportation systems and machine learning at the University of Melbourne, Australia. Ms. Udara Mendis, double degree master's student in Microelectronics and MBA in Technology Management in Technische Universität Hamburg, Germany. Thank you both for joining us today and for your willingness to share your valuable insights and experiences with our community. Next, I would like to extend a warm welcome to the representatives of IET Young Professionals of Sri Lanka. Your presence and support are greatly appreciated and add immense value to our community. A heartfelt welcome goes out to our entire IET community, including our dedicated members who are continuously strive to foster a culture of learning and growth. And of course, a special welcome to all our participants. Your enthusiasm and eagerness to learn about higher education opportunities abroad are what drives us to organize such events. We hope that today's sessions will provide you with the knowledge and inspiration you need to pursue your academic and professional aspirations. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we are excited to introduce our guest speakers for today's session. Their diverse academic backgrounds and unique journeys will provide valuable insights into studying in Germany and Australia. As I mentioned before, we are delighted to have them share their experiences with today. Their unique academic paths and perspectives will give us a thorough understanding of the educational landscapes in Germany and Australia. Now, please join me in welcoming our esteemed guests, Mr. Oshada Jayasinghe, a PhD candidate at the University of Melbourne, and our second speaker, Ms. Udara Mendis, who is pursuing a double degree master's at Technische Universität Hamburg, Germany. Now, I think it would be great if we could hear about themselves, giving the listeners a chance to get to know them better. So over to you.
Oshada, shall I go ahead?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So I'm Udara. I'm a graduate from University of Melbourne from the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering. And after my graduation, I have worked for a couple of years in the telecom industry and also in the digital electronics domain. And now currently I'm pursuing my master's in Germany here at Technische Universität Hamburg in microelectronics and microsystems. And also in parallel to that, I'm continuing doing a MBA in technology management in the same university. So yeah, I'm excited to be here and looking forward to answer your questions and help you in whatever way I can.
Yeah, I'll give a brief introduction about myself as well. So, thank you for inviting us over here for this session. So I'm Oshada Jayasinghe. I'm again a graduate of University of Melbourne in the Department of Electronic and Telecommunication Engineering, and I also worked a couple of years in Sri Lanka, 1 year in ADL as a data engineer, and another year at WSO2 as a machine learning engineer. And then I moved to Melbourne, Australia for my PhD, and currently I'm focusing my research on machine learning based applications for intelligent transportation systems. So looking forward for a session that would be enlightening all of you, and happy to answer questions on higher education opportunities and stuff.
Thank you, Ayanaki. As much as you are delighted to be here with us, we are glad to have you here with us as well. So without further delays, let's move on to the discussion. Now, before we begin, I kindly request our listeners to refrain from asking questions in between the session, because there will be a separate Q&A session later where you can voice your concerns with our speakers. So thank you again, and let us dive in. Now, choosing the right country and university is often the most daunting part of the journey. Now, let's start by understanding the factors influenced our speakers' decisions. Now, Oshada Aya, what factors did you consider when choosing Australia as your preferred place of study?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, like choosing the right university and the right country are two main factors, like when choosing higher studies opportunity. And for me, actually, I have completed my internship, a 6-month internship at my 3rd year in Brisbane, Australia as well, and I focused on LED robotics at CSIRO. So for me, actually, my decision was mainly the country. So like because when when considering a higher studies opportunity, there are multiple things to decide. So like it's not just about education in my point of view, like, because like you'll be away for at least like 3-4 years. So there are multiple things to consider here: the financial situation, the social situation, and of course the academic the environment that will be facing. So Australia is a good place with renowned universities, but there are other places as well. So like USA, Canada, Europe, UK, they all have good universities. But for me, I chose Australia before choosing my university, because like mainly because I have a lot of friends and family here. So like that's one thing that I myself put a lot of weight on, because like I'm because even if it's like a very high rank university with like very good professors and cutting edge research, but if I have to be alone for like 4 or 5 years, that would be a no for me. So like I selected the country first, and based on the country, I applied for University of Melbourne, which is like the highest ranked university in Australia. So yeah, that's my path.
Thank you, Aya, for sharing those insights. And Australia certainly seems like a great choice for many reasons from your end, and also for us too when we are considering a university. And Udaraki, coming back to you, why did you choose Germany for your higher education? What stood out to you about Germany's educational system, if may I ask?
Yeah, so as Oshada said, like, of course, like, there are certain factors I had to consider. One is the industry, like, depending on the field I want to go into. And so, like, based on the electronics industry, there are a couple of countries which are well known for electronics education, mainly US. And when it comes to Europe, it's usually UK or Germany. And in Asia, it comes down to South Korea or Japan. So my personal preference was to go into Europe because I wanted to travel around Europe. So that was a personal dream I had. So that's one reason why I was looking for universities in Europe. And in contrast to what Oshada was looking for, I wanted to challenge myself and be independent. And so I wasn't looking for places where there's a lot of Sri Lankan community. But I mean, yeah, in Germany, there are a lot of Sri Lankans. So my main purpose was like where I can find a degree which satisfies my requirements, the exact field I want to go into. So based on that, I looked into different universities around Europe, but Germany is well known for its education and the industry leader in Europe, and it has all the industry, the education system, everything I wanted. So that's the reason why I went to Germany. But I'm completely open to change whatever the country based on the opportunities I come across. So I'm not completely fixed into one country.
It seems it's a personal choice that you chose Germany rather than considering the educational system. So yeah, that was impressive. So now, as we already covered the why part, now let's dive into the what part. So what are speakers studying and how did they get into their programs? Now, Oshada, coming back to you, can you tell us more about your field, how you got selected for the PhD program, and what was the application process like?
Yeah, I'm conducting my research, as I mentioned as well, like looking into machine learning based applications for intelligent transportation systems. So like if I explain a bit more, like there are many interesting things happening on roads, like transportation is a key thing that everyone should do, and the infrastructure usually built by the governments of the countries, and that affects people a lot, because like if you take a city like Colombo, you know, like at the rush hours there be like a lot of traffic, and people would spend their valuable time on roads. So on the other hand, like there are there have been like a lot of recent technological advancements in machine learning and data science based areas. So I'm looking into like how I can use some of those concepts so that we could have some solutions which would like reduce the congestion, reduce the travel times, so that it will be like better for everyone who's traveling. And I'm mostly doing my research on simulations, but some of the simulations that have been like not by me but by past students, but the simulations will get applied in real world scenarios, some cases. So that's about the research. So talking about the application process, it's a bit different from US, the application process in Australia. The first target, I'm talking about PhDs. So like the first target would be to find a suitable professor. So like it's like a two-ended thing, as in like you should choose a professor and the professor should choose you as well. That's the first part. So like for that you can browse through the university web pages, Google Scholar profiles, and find a suitable professor or multiple professors that are like working on areas that you have previous experience, and also like you are passionate. Like I mean, experience is not mandatory, like, but the interest of course should be there. Like you should be interested in the fields that the professor is conducting research on. So after finding suitable professor or multiple professors, like you should contact them probably using email. So you have to drop an email and ask, like, I'm looking for PhD opportunities, and my profile is like this, and I have gone through your profile, and it seems like you are doing research in the fields that I'm also interested in. And then based on then you submit like your expression of interest, and then the professor would have a look at your profile, and if you are a good match for them, they would usually conduct an interview, and then they would say like, okay, we'd be happy to offer you a PhD position. But then there's another university application process as well. Like after finding a professor, then you have to write a research proposal, and then submit also submit along with like your transcript, CV, and several other documents. So you have to go to the university portal and find and submit your application, and then it will take a couple of months for it to be processed. And usually PhDs are, as far as I know, like almost all PhDs are funded. So the PhD offer as well as a scholarship offer would be determined by the application. So if the university offers you a PhD studentship with scholarship, then you are good to go, and you can start your studies, migrate here and start your studies. That's about PhDs. I'll talk about MScs as well, but like I mean, I don't know much stuff about MScs, but like for that the professor part is not there, because like PhD is usually you do a PhD with the professor or multiple professors, but MSc it's like a coursework based thing. So for MScs they have directly the university portal where you can submit your transcript, CV and stuff, and they will select a batch of students. So yeah.
That sounds like a fascinating field to work, yeah, and thank you for detailing your journey. Now, Udaraki, what about you? How did you get selected to the double degree program at your own university? And can you also walk us through the application process?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, about the degree program. So my main degree is actually master's in microelectronics and microsystems. So usually in Germany, you have to first do your master's, even if you want to go for a PhD. And usually most of the people come for masters, and sometimes you can directly apply for the PhD position, as Oshada said, like by contacting a supervisor and getting the approval. But still you have to do the master's first while being a PhD candidate. So in my case, I wanted to come for master's, so I directly applied to the university. In Germany, we usually the semester starts in winter in most of the universities, which is in September, October. And there is an application window in each university, and it varies from one university to another. And it usually falls in the time between like December to February, and some starts in April also. So we just have to directly apply to the university during that application window and submit a transcript, CV, and the required documents. And once the window is open, they will give them the admission decision whether we get an offer or not. So we can apply for a couple of universities. And one thing I have seen that a mistake that a lot of people are doing is that they try to go through agencies, which is absolutely not necessary for any European country. So you just directly go to the university and apply. And there are also a couple of other options called the DAD and Erasmus Mundus. I will drop the names on the chat. Where DAD is something where you can, it's a scholarship sponsored program only for a couple of study programs in Germany, which are mostly focused on renewable energy and sustainability and so on, not much of technical subjects. And Erasmus Mundus is a European program which offers your master's degrees in couple of universities. You can do several semesters in different universities. So you can go to their sites and there'll be more details on that. So yeah, that's basically the application process in Germany. And one thing I didn't mention earlier was that Germany doesn't have a tuition fee. It's completely free education. So that's why actually there are no scholarship options also in Germany. But well, it's free education, and it's the only European country with free education. And yeah, it's a very pretty simple and straightforward process.
Yeah, it seems like Germany contrasts from many other countries worldwide when it comes to their unique style of education. So let me jump to another critical aspect that we have to consider when we are studying abroad. That is to talk about the scholarships, how they work in Germany and Australia. Now, Udara, you already mentioned about that and Erasmus, if I am right. So can you briefly mention about it further, and how it is funded and what opportunities does it offer and all?
But so as I said, there's no tuition fee when it comes to Germany. So there's only a small semester contribution, which is around 300 euros per semester, which is like 90,000 in Sri Lankan rupees. And because of that reason, actually, there are not many scholarship opportunities here, but there are organizations, mainly religious funded organizations, which offer scholarship opportunities. But one requirement is that they conduct interviews in German language, which means you will be required to have B1 or B2 level of German. So it's very rare that international students get these scholarship opportunities. But once you start your studies, actually, there are a couple of scholars that universities itself provide with combined with the government itself. So after enrolling in the university, we can apply for those scholarships for 1 year or 2 year periods and get the scholarship. Other than that, when it comes to Germany, to show your finances, we have to create a blocked account, something called a blocked account, which means we have to show that certain amount of money that they have specified that we have that to fund our living expenses, at least for the first year in Germany. So that's the only financial constraint. But after that, in Germany, the best thing is that students are allowed to work up to 20 hours a week. So there are a lot of working student opportunities in almost all the companies in Germany, and also in universities. And even if you want, you can do a part-time job, like a odd job, like a delivery person or something. And you can definitely cover up your expenses. So, I mean, your blocked account definitely helps during the first year, and after that, even maybe after the second semester or so on, working student helps you to get the industry experience while studying, plus to cover up your finances. So that's the way all the international students do here. And I mean, it's not a hassle at all.
Okay, thank you, Aki. So, Oshada, could you explain how the scholarship system in Australia works? Is it similar to the system in Germany? And also, we would like to know if you were able to come to Australia with such a scholarship.
Yeah. So it's not like Germany. I mean, like there's no concept like free education in Australia. So like bachelor's and master's degrees are usually paid, and like international students usually have to pay more than domestic students. That's how it was. Like international education is a major income source for Australia. But that's with bachelor's and masters. So for PhDs, I mean, it's not just on. I mean, not only in Australia, but in as far as I know, in like all countries, like usually PhDs are funded. You don't pay for PhDs, because like in PhDs, like there's I mean, like usually the student conducts research rather than a lecturer, teachers use stuff. So like so based on that fact, the student is given a stipend or like a living allowance, so that he could manage his cost of living, and there will be like no charge for or like no course fees for PhDs. I mean, I can guarantee about all the countries, but at least for Australia, I don't know like any. I mean, whether I mean there could be unpaid ones, but usually PhDs are funded. So if we talk about amounts, like it depends. Like some of the scholarships are funded by the government, some of the scholarships are funded by the university, and there are like industry collaborated ones as well. So the amount varies, but usually it's around 30,000 Australian dollars per year. PhD scholarship is around 30,000 to $35,000 Australian dollars per year. So that's more than enough to cover the cost of living, and you could save a bit from that as well. And there is like no restriction for PhD students, as in like you could work as many hours you want, but you don't get much time to do when you're doing a PhD for doing other stuff. But for masters and bachelors, so I mean, no point talking about bachelors, but it's the same thing. Yeah. So for masters, the course fees are there. So like you have to pay course fees for the university, and there are scholarships offered. Like usually they are not like 100% free, but usually like a portion, like 10%, 25%, or 50%. Like those kind of scholarships are offered by the universities and also other institutions as well, but they are a bit hard to get. I mean, like a considerable, like let's say like 50%, it's hard to, I mean, I'm not gonna like, so it's a bit hard to get. Because of the depending on the exchange rates, it could be a heavy burden to start a master's in Australia. But then again, people find a way. So like they do part time, and also they manage, like so they manage the couple of years in the masters, and then they go to work, and that's how they do. But if you are doing a PhD, there'll be like no cost associated with the university, and you will be given a stipend to cover your expenses. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying the major differences between two reasons when it comes to funding. Okay, now moving on, let's see how well connected the studies are with the industry. Now, this is a crucial factor when gaining practical experience and future job prospects. So, Oshada, how does your field of study connect with the industry in Australia? Or are there strong industry linkages and opportunities for practical experience?
Yeah. You don't like usually follow someone's learned. I mean, you have to learn, but what I mean is like you don't follow. You'll be trying to do something new, something novel. Depending on the same reason, so industry and PhD they have their conflicts, and then they have their collaborations as well. Because like if you look at the industry, they try to do something that's like relevant to the current situation. So like they're trying to, I mean, they're trying to basically make money by doing an application which is like relevant to the people and the society as of now. But some PhDs they are not suitable for now. They are looking at the future. If this situation occurs, what should we do? That's how some PhDs are focused on. So that difference could be there. But then again, there are like a lot of collaborations as well. So for example, in Australia, there's the same entity that I did my intern. There's a organization called CSR. So like there are many partnerships or PhD collaborations between CSR and universities of Australia. So they conduct research at like industry-based applications, but thinking in novel ways. And when it comes to my particular research, also like as I said, like I'm working on intelligent transportation systems based applications, and for that also like there are a lot of collaborations with the industry, because for example, like the data that we use, so there's like a system called AIMS, which is like an industry collaboration with the University of Melbourne and some other institutions, and we collaborate to create data for our research, and also we use that data to do our research, and also at the same time we do some research work with industries as well. For example, like there's a telecommunication giant called Telstra in Australia. So some of the applications, not me, but some of my seniors are working on application again related to intelligent transportation systems, combined telecommunications, so for Telstra. So there are things like that, and it depends on your area. Like I mean, Australia is strong on some industry, like for example, like mining. It's like a very popular industry in Australia. So so if you are into like that mechanical and earth resources kind of in the fields, like there'll be like a lot of industry collaboration. So yeah, it depends. So for some areas, I don't think like there are like industries that would be like collaborating with you, but for some, yeah, there are strong collaborations.
It's reassuring to hear about the strong industry connections in Australia for some areas, as you mentioned. So, Daraki, coming back to you again, how well does the field connect with the industry in Germany? So, are there opportunities for internships and collaborations there as well?
So also mentioned is quite valid for Germany also, that it totally depends on the field that you are going into. So when it comes to my field, one reason that I choose this particular field, Germany for this field, is also because Germany is a key leader in microelectronics and nanoelectronics domain, in addition to US. So as a student, like let's say even if you come for master's or even PhD, one opportunity is that we always have the chance of going for a working student position. So we can choose the, like, based on the companies in a region, we can go into the positions, that areas that we want to, and while doing our studies, we have the chance to get an industry exposure. And also when we are choosing, let's say for the master thesis or the master projects, in case of masters, all the universities usually have industry collaborations with the major industry companies in the region itself. So for example, my university has a lot of collaborations with NXP and Nexperia. So those are the major electronics industry companies in Hamburg. And like even if it comes to energy or let's say shipping or ports, all the companies are connected with the technical universities in the region. So always they have projects going on, and the university research is based on to cater the needs of the industry. So when you go into we're just going to talk with the professors and to get to know about this research, we can always work with the industry and even have an opportunity to go into the company and work with them and so on. So I would say there's a lot of opportunities, just that you have to show them that you have hunger for knowledge and you are like really passionate to work with them. And there's plenty of opportunities, not just in Germany, but all the countries surrounding, including Switzerland, Netherlands, UK, Denmark, all those countries. And yeah, so in Germany also, like from country to country, it changes a little bit. Like Oshada said, like Germany is more famous for automotive and also for ports, I think. So all the electronics, the embedded system, software and everything is more focused on that line. And Switzerland also, yes, I think, but when it comes to Netherlands, they have more research and organizations into microelectronics and these very material areas. So based on the country and the availability of the industry and so on, it changes a lot, and your personal interest also.
It seems like industry collaboration is indeed a significant factor in higher education. So now, as we already talked about differences between different countries, there are different educational formats already. Now let's explore these differences to understand what students can expect. So Daraki, coming back to you again, is the university format in Germany similar across most institutions, and how does it compare to what you've experienced in Sri Lanka?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. So I would just tell you my own experience when the first day I started my master's. The first lecture was conducted by our program coordinator himself. And when I went and spoke to him, the first thing he said was that a lot of Asian students find it very difficult to cope up with the level, the expectations that they expect from our master's programs in Germany. One reason is, and over the time I realized why he said that, is that in Germany, the education system is mostly based on reasoning and questioning. It's not consuming knowledge. First rule is that you should not be just consuming knowledge, but you should be generating your own knowledge and you should be reasoning everything. And even all the exams are based on that. So that's the key difference that I saw in the German university system, at least, compared to what we had. And after coming here, I have honestly started thinking more than I have done for the last 4 years in bachelor's. And that's something which is really good, because it makes, that's one reason why Germany is quite good in terms of their knowledge generation, I would say. And talking about the university system, actually Germany has 2 layers of universities. One is technical universities, which are more focused into research and theoretical aspects, like university system. And the other one in graduates for the task force. Like it's comparable to vocational training, but they have more skills, let's say in Python or some software skills and so on, but they don't get the complete underlying theoretical fundamentals. So they are more into as a workforce into the industry, but the technical universities are more recognized than that, and they are the ones who are actually going to the world rankings. And in universities also, actually there are let's say for in Hamburg, there's University of Hamburg and Technical University of Hamburg. So that's where I am. And in Berlin also, University of Berlin and Technical University of Berlin. So the technical university is the one which is more focused into engineering, while the University of Hamburg or University of Berlin, they have engineering parts there, but they are more focused into other areas of, like, let's say they have business administration, arts areas, and medicine, all those areas. So in choosing the university, also be mindful about the name of the university and also the degree programs that they offer. And yeah, so most of all those technical universities offer international master's programs, because they have a parallel program conducted in German. And so there is a small problem that some of the leading universities in Germany. For example, Technische Universität of Munich is the #1 university, but they don't offer that much of international master's programs, while they offer really interesting topics in German. But there are a lot of universities when it comes to in Berlin, Hamburg, Bremen, and in other states that provide international master's programs completely taught in English, and you don't need to have any German knowledge at all. So yeah, that's roughly the landscape of the university system.
Thank you, Aki, for adding your own personal experience as well, so that the listeners got a better understanding about the question that I directed. So going back to you, Oshada, now after hearing about the format in Australia compared to both Sri Lanka and Germany, is it similar across most of the institutions in Australia as well?
University structure, like I think almost like all universities have kind of like a similar structure as far as I know. I mean, at least for PhDs, they are kind of similar. So there are like 8 universities which are called the Group of 8 or A8. Those are like the highest rank universities that includes like University of Melbourne, University of Sydney, University of New South Wales, and some 5 other universities. And then there are like other universities as well. Like for example, in Melbourne, there are a lot of other universities like La Trobe, Swinburne, Deakin, RMIT. There are universities like that in other states as well. So at least for PhDs, the ranking is not the only thing that you should be looking into, because like I mean, ranking matters. I mean, it's fine to limit your choices by the university rankings and stuff, but there are like because like PhDs, they are focused on certain research areas. So like some universities are famous for some research areas. So like for example, for robotics, universities like QUT and UTS, they are very popular. So like university structure is somewhat similar, and the PhD application process, and also the how the PhD goes on, and the stipend or the scholarship and the duration, they are quite similar in all of the universities. And I cannot like really compare the Sri Lankan university structure with here, because like I'm doing a PhD, so like I haven't attended lectures to like directly compare. But one thing is that since these are like developed countries, the projects are funded, so that's like a good thing, because like back in our university days in Moratua, like we faced some difficulties obtaining fundings and to do our projects and research. We couldn't get any funding because like the government expenditure on international education, government spending on education system is not actually sufficient in Sri Lanka. But in these countries, the government expenditure is high, and at the same time there are like a lot of industry collaboration. And of course, I mean, if you talk about Australia, the universities actually make money, because like for bachelors and masters, they charge course fees and stuff, so they have money. So like that's one good thing, because like when you are conducting research in some areas, like you need the funding, because like without funding you cannot touch the horizons. So that's a good thing. But apart from that, I couldn't comment much on the lecturers and the stuff, because I haven't attended any.
Okay, thank you both of you. Like, it was very helpful to understand how different educational systems operate worldwide. This is another common question that most of us have in our mind. So that is, can we switch our field of interest if needed?
Well, yeah. So it's a yes and a no question, because like if you do electrical engineering and if you want to completely move into civil engineering, it doesn't make sense. But shifting between like similar areas, yes, it's possible. Because, for example, I have some friends who did chemical engineering, but doing environmental engineering or renewable energy or something like that for masters. Or even, I don't know about the PhD opportunities because it still goes in line with the masters that they do here. But yeah, you can change the field somewhere close to what you have been going on, not a drastic change. But still, we have to keep in mind that one major thing in German industry is that when looking for a job, your experience and the set of skills that you have matters more than the name of the degree or name of the university you come from. So even, for example, when I was going for my working student position, it was not my degree. I wasn't like, they particularly told me not to mention about my degrees because it's already on my CV. It all completely came down to what experience and what skills I had. So that we had to keep in mind. I don't think it's only in Germany, but in all Europe, it's the same case. But yes, you can slightly change your fields, is fine, as long as you develop the necessary skills.
I'll add to that on with regard to PhDs. So the thing is like PhDs are diverse. So like, and when it comes to PhDs, like sometimes it's hard to say like which field this is related to, because like in bachelor's or master's, like there are some let's say like departments, or you have like department like electronic and telecommunication, computer science, civil, mechanical, stuff like that. But when it comes to PhDs, it's a bit hard to have the borders between those departments, because some are like cross collaborative, like some projects are combining electronics with mechanical stuff, electronics with civil stuff, computer science and mechanical. So there are a lot of things done like that. And also for PhDs, like if you have a good I mean, if you're passionate on the field that the professor is working on, that could be enough. I mean, like I mean, even though like if you don't have any experience, if you are able to showcase that you are like really into this field and you need to change the things that you did in your bachelor's, sometimes you would get chance. I mean, it could be a bit hard, because like if a person with like good related knowledge or related experience applies, of course he would get the chance. But I have seen students who have done like major career changes when it comes to PhD. So for example, like there's a friend of mine doing computer science related research, but she has graduated from architecture faculty in Madras. So like those things are possible. Could be a bit hard, but at least like make sure, I mean, if you are changing your area or the field, that means like you have like, I mean, you have done something that you are like not really interested in, or like that you are like not really passionate about. So don't make the same mistake twice, as in like if you are not satisfied with the things that you have been doing so far, don't continue that, assuming that okay, now I have done that I can do, so I'll do. So don't limit yourself. If you are into something that's be successful, you might not be able to get into a good university, but at least try. So you definitely have the chance when it
brief idea on that sector again. Now, could you share insights on the university landscape in Australia and Germany? Like, are there any universities that cater to a wide range of fields or do some specialize in specific areas? And additionally, which fields have higher demand in your respective, have more demand outside of Australia and Germany?
I'm not so clear of the question. PhDs are like, I mean, as I said before as well, like PhDs sometimes are not directly related with the industry because like the path of the usual path of a PhD student is like after doing the PhD as well, some would move to the industry, but usually most would be continuing their research work, maybe like a post as a postdoc, or ultimately becoming an assistant professor, then a professor, and so on. Like teaching and researching are the two things that usually a PhD candidate or like a PhD graduate would be looking for. But it's changing as well, as in like nowadays in the industry also we see a lot of PhD students as well. So for example, like in some companies they mention that for applying for this particular position you should have a PhD. So world is changing, and also the other thing is like the technologies are changing as well, because like if you take 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the things we studied at that time might not be relevant now. So the same thing applies again and again, as in like the things we study now might not be applicable in the future. So you should have the ability to change and I mean change what you do. Particular in I mean in Australia, I mean I don't have actually like much knowledge to comment on the question that you asked. Like I mean, as in like what fields are like good fields to get into in Australia. But for a fact that I know, mining is like a really huge thing in Australia. So it's like generating a lot of revenue for Australia. So mining related jobs are there a lot, and mechanical and computer science also, and also civil. There's like a lot of infrastructure related stuff being happening in Melbourne and also in other parts of the country. So because like Australia is like a huge country, so like manufacturing is there, and also the infrastructure related stuff are there. So I'm not sure that I answered your question, but that's anything to add to that.
So yeah, that's what I wanted answers to about the demand of certain fields in that country. So yeah, moving on to the next question now. Studying abroad comes with its own set of challenges. Now let's hear about the common problems that you had to face when you're flying abroad and how you overcome them. And Oshada, could you please walk us through about some common problems that you encountered while adapting to studying abroad and steps you took to overcome them?
Yes, actually, like I didn't face much challenges when it comes to the PhD, because like I had already done a 6-month internship in Brisbane when I was in my 3rd year. But at that time, I faced a lot of challenges, because like moving into a country for your studies or for a job or anything, it could be like a milestone. It is like a major milestone. So lot of people face a lot of challenges with regard to that. I faced them myself, but not in the not most of them were not in my PhD, but when I was interning. Because like one thing is like it is a major thing, like you miss your family and friends back in home. So like that's there, like I mean it depends on the person. So but usually it's not the same situation that you are in Sri Lanka when you are living alone in a country. So in a different country. So that's one thing, and adapting to the lifestyle of the country could be challenging because the systems and the way people work things here are a bit different. But then again, Australia, I think the differences are low because like we have like a strong Sri Lankan community, especially in Melbourne. We have like a strong Sri Lankan presence. So that's like a major reason I selected Melbourne as well. But in Brisbane, the community is not so high. So sometimes you get lonely. And the academic wise also, like the things could be a bit hard because like in PhDs, as I mentioned, like you are searching for new knowledge. So that's not an easy thing because like going for a lecture and understanding the stuff and then doing projects and writing papers on that, it's one thing because like usually Sri Lankans are good at that, but where it's like hunting for new knowledge, creating new knowledge, it's not that straightforward because like you have to look into stuff in very detail, and some of the things that you do result in failures. It's like very common for PhD students. Like you spend your time for like 2-3 weeks on one thing, but after that time period you realize that this is not going to work. It's a waste of time. That happens. So in PhD that could be a challenge. So yeah, so my advice is like don't move abroad like just for the sake of doing it, or like because your friends are doing so, because like it has been a trend like in the past couple of years, like due to the economic situation of our country and all, like I mean we cannot blame anyone, but if it's not for you, don't do it, because like have a good understanding of everything because before you make that decision, and use your destination, or like select your destination wisely, because otherwise because it just because like you moved from Sri Lanka to another country, that doesn't mean like all of your problems are solved. Like there are things that you have to adapt into, and there are things that would be like that would be troubling you in those countries as well. So research and find all of this stuff, like the things that you need to know, ask from seniors, ask from people who have already moved, like how the life is over there. And also with regard to studies, like select wisely, like because like as I said, like doing a PhD, it's like a major commitment. Like it's like 4 years, 3-4 years commitment, and some other countries like US, it would be 5 or 6. So if it's not for you, like spending that time could be you could have been doing something like more interesting in the meantime, if you're like not really interested in that. So even if for masters, like having a master's is good, but that's higher studies is also like not the only path. Some people they after the bachelor's, they directly move into the industry, and they become like they develop their careers, and some of them are in great positions now. So like choose what's best for you, and choose wisely.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think it was very helpful for the prospective students to hear about those challenges. So I know we already discussed about the part-time job opportunities that we have in both countries. So if there's anything to add on that, I would like to hear from. Is it allowed to do it while you are on a scholarship now? As we know from our previous session, speakers mentioned that there are restrictions in USA for part-time jobs if you're on the scholarship. So are there any such cases there in Australia and Germany as well?
Yeah, so with regard to Australia, as far as I know, like there are no restrictions. I mean, there are like visa-wise restrictions for bachelor's and master's students. So like for you are allowed to only work 20. I think now it's 24. I mean, it changes with time to time. With COVID, like there were some changes. So you're only allowed to like work for 24 hours if you are a bachelor's or a master's student. But for PhD students, there's no work limitation or like a work hour limitation like that. But PhD students are usually busy, as I mentioned, like. But you can do other jobs. So for PhD students, there are a couple of like university related jobs that they could do. There's research assistant and teaching assistant, so instructors or tutors. So while doing the PhD, you could apply for those positions, like you could do a research assistantship with probably those research assistantships are done with industry, and teaching assistants or like tutoring also you can do, like for bachelor's and master's courses. Professors need the help of some students for conducting lab sessions, marking papers and stuff. For that you could also apply, and those are paid separately. Like, I mean, on top of the scholarship, you are paid for those hours that you work as a RA or a TA. So that's again different to US. I mean, as far as I know, like in US, in some scholarships, like those are mandatory. Like you have to either be a RA or a TA under the scholarship, and they are not paid separately. But in Australia, they are paid separately. Apart from that, you could do odd jobs as well if you want, but out of a job, because like finding courses are not fixed. So if you're not like in a 100 or like a 70% scholarship, or if your parents are not rich, yeah, then you'll have to find some work to cover the courses. And for that, people do various kind of jobs. Some do like related ones, like so I mean, because like with COVID, things kind of changed. I mean, like at least in the software industry, you could work remote. So a lot of people are now working for remote companies, doing freelancing and stuff, and earn money. And some people do odd jobs. It's up to you if you are if you want to do related job or like odd job. It's up to you. But for PhD students, like it's not necessary, because like the scholarship is actually enough. But if you want, yeah, you are free to.
Udara, anything to add from your end?
Yeah. In Germany also, the working hour quota is the same. So we can work if you are a master's student, or even in the 3rd and 4th years of bachelor's, you can work up to part-time up to 240 half days or 120 full days, which means basically roughly 20 hours a week. And now they're making it 24. So it's the same as Australia, I think. And here, working student positions are very common, as I said. So even the bachelor people at their final years, they look for opportunities in companies, and almost all the companies are also looking for these kind of working student positions, where we get the experience, also they get the work done at a low price. So win-win for both parties. And so it's very common that, like, I mean, it's a must that we have, not a must, but to find fulfill the finances, that usually a master student would go for a part-time job, but still you can manage the masters with that. It's manageable. And if you're directly coming for PhD, while doing the masters, you get because of the scholarship, you get to work as a research assistant in the university itself. So then you don't have to look into any part-time jobs. It's already covered. But even as a master's student, there are opportunities in the university to work as research assistants or the tutors, or not to conduct lectures, but to conduct labs and stuff. So from the second year of masters, we can still do that. So they are called HIVI jobs in Germany, but in other European countries also, it's more or less the same.
Thank you again. So with that, we have come to the ending of the discussion session. So before we end the discussion, do you have any final advice for future engineers who are getting ready to finish their bachelor's degree, especially regarding their research-based projects and how to make them successful and all?
Yeah, so I think I gave my addresses in the last while addressing the questions. I said the things I wanted to. So the like in the, I mean, could be repetitive, but I'll say some things again. So the main thing is that identify who you are and what you want. So because like that depends from person to person, because like not everyone wants the same thing. So identify your strengths and your capabilities and what you really want to do in your life. So based on that, take your decision, because like I mean, when looking at like our friends and the situation in our era, like there's a peer pressure, because like when everyone is leaving the country and he has gone into this place, she has gone into this place, and you automatically think that okay, they are moving on, what am I doing here, like kind of thing. Because but like that's not a major thing you have to worry about. So if you are confident about what you are doing, and if you are happy if you are happy in your current position, it's perfectly fine. So don't do it for the sake it. So if you're, but there are a lot of at the same time, by doing a higher studies degree or master, it could be a master's, could be a PhD in a foreign university, that creates a lot of opportunities. And that doesn't mean like, I mean, doing your degree in a foreign country does not mean that you have to permanently migrate into that country. You could come here, learn from the best, because like when compared to Sri Lankan universities, the world universities are better in terms of their service, in the resources, rankings, and also you could learn from the best in foreign universities. And after that, if you want to move back to Sri Lanka, that's again perfectly fine. So get the exposure that could be like really changing your way of thinking, the lifestyle and all. But at the same time, if you want to move into the industry and develop your career there, that's again perfectly fine. Because like we have, I mean, it depends. Like the people who are doing higher studies do not, I mean, they are not the, I mean it's hard to like analyze on what aspect a person is successful, but like all are successful. I mean, like people who have industry experience could earn a lot sometimes than people who are doing PhD. So it depends. So identify who you are and what you want, and based on that, take a decision.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Oshada covered pretty much everything I also wanted to say. So to add on to it, I would say don't be afraid to try different areas until you figure out which area perfectly suits you. Because sometimes in the middle of your bachelor's, you might be able to figure out, okay, this is exactly where I want to go. But sometimes it might take some time to figure out. I also tried different areas related to my field to see which area I want to go into. And that was indeed actually the foundation why I chose to go for higher studies, because the field I wanted to dive deep into was not available in Sri Lanka. So as Oshada also said, that like go just follow the passion and not the trend or what your friend says. Go into what you like and what you can do the best. And so yeah, and going abroad is definitely like, it opens up a lot of opportunities, and it's not like it's not that you don't have to settle down in one particular country. You can always come back to a country and serve the country back. But it gives you an opportunity, opens doors to a lot of knowledge and a lot of opportunities, and also like you get to see how the advanced societies operate, not like living inside, like a frog living inside a whale. So I was, if anyone is interested, I always recommend people to go out and see the world and come back. Because that's how we can change the way we see when everything. There are a lot of PhD graduates also who go into the industry in Germany. So it's very common that those who have doctorates go into industry. So yeah, it goes up to you, and just follow your heart.
Yeah, thank you both of you for those solid and invaluable advices. So as we have now come to the end of our discussion, I hope this session has been both educational and inspirational for all our listeners here. And now it's time for what we've been eagerly waiting for, the Q&A session. So feel free to switch on your microphone, or else there will be a Slido link that's shared in the chat. You can use the link and type your questions and direct it to our speakers. There's this one question that popped up. You told the name like MBA. Can you please explain about it a little bit?
So I guess that goes to me. Yeah. So yeah, I think I need to explain that. Sorry. So usually what we come here for is the master's degree program. So it's a technical program, but there's a couple of universities, including my university, which has a business school attached to it as a subsidiary, and so they offer the opportunity to do an MBA parallel to your master's or PhD. So it goes as part-time, but we can start the MBA parallel with the master's together, or do 1 year in master's and start it in the second year, or even if you're starting with the PhD, or even while you're working, you can do it part-time. So usually the MBA also is for 2 years, and it has tuition fee, because business schools goes as private universities, not as state-owned. But there are scholarship opportunities and also more funding opportunities when it comes to an MBA. And so if there's anyone who's interested in going into the management side, it's an value addition and a top-up degree where you can like differentiate yourself among the other people in your batch, in your same MSc group. So yeah, there are opportunities like that. So yeah, I don't know if that covers.
Yeah, I think so.
the
Thank you.
question.
And I think the next question is also being directed towards you. In Europe, are the lectures conducted in their mother language?
Yeah, so when it comes to masters, they have normal masters and international masters program. So international masters is focused on international students and it's completely done in English. So yeah, in their university web pages, they have specifically mentioned the teaching language, and all the international masters programs are usually taught in English. So in Germany, I came across a couple of programs where there are some subjects which are taught in German. So sometimes, like even in the international program, just because that they don't have a lecturer to teach that same German subject in English, that they have to offer it in German. But you can, so that becomes a bit of a disadvantage if the subject that you wanted to go into is not offered in English. But still, you can take that program because most of the subjects are in English. But in general, international master's programs are completely taught in English and the language is not necessary. But having said that, it's good to learn the language a bit.
So thank you. Okay, and this question is directed specifically towards Oshada. Are you thinking of going to the academia or the industry after the PhD, and why?
I have to complete the PhD first, but I'll be probably looking for industry-based opportunities. I mean, that's my situation as of now, but that could change. So like I worked in the Sri Lankan industry for a couple of years as well. That's my plan for now, like after completing the PhD to join probably a company here while conducting. I mean, it could be research oriented because like usually when you do a PhD, the industry based roles that you are looking for is a bit different rather than when you are directly applying with your bachelor's, because like you would be usually looking at research oriented based jobs like research scientist or so similar along the similar lines. So yeah, that's the plan. It could be changed, but it could change.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another question is, how long a degree program? Is it 4 years or 5 years with masters?
Here, usually it's 2 years for masters, and for PhD, it goes for after masters, it's 3 years. But in Germany, it's very flexible that you don't have to specifically finish the masters in 2 years. Because you can extend your masters up to like another 1.5 years, so including totally 3.5 years. So you can take your exams at your own pace and do your thesis. But having said that, it's better to finish as soon as during that period and look for opportunities. But yeah, it's usually 2 years. And just to mention, in UK, it's usually 1 year masters if it's full time, and for part time, it's 2 years. But in all other European countries, it's yeah, except UK, Ireland, and Scotland. All other countries, it's 2 year masters and 3 year PhD.
And he also masters usually 2 years, and PhDs could vary. It could vary from 3 to 3.5 or to 4 years. It depends on your pace, and some people even complete their PhD before 3 years, but usually it's around 3.5 years.
Thank you. And the next question is, can you give us an idea on how your typical day goes with your classes, labs, and research?
For me, because I'm doing 2 degrees, it's a little bit hectic, like 2 days of working, 3 days of masters, and 2 days of MBA. And yeah, that's 7 days, and it repeats. But yeah, time to time, it's like sometimes it feels like hectic when it comes to exams, but end of the day, it's satisfying. So usually we have lectures and labs, and like it's not like 8 to 5, only a couple of slots during the daytime. So in between or in the morning or evening, we have free time to work on our own. And yeah, we usually find some time to hang out with friends, go for dinner, and anyway, we had to cook and do the laundry and everything ourselves also. But yeah, I mean, it's not very hectic, but not easy at all either.
For me, actually, I mean, for PhD students, like there's no schedule kind of thing, because like you don't have lectures, lab sessions, stuff. You don't have anything like that. You have to do your things independently with the help of your supervisors, with your supervisors, colleagues, and people. But apart from that, the day is flexible. So, and the hours are also flexible. And I mean, there's no like fixed hour commitment, but there are deadlines, because like in PhD, when you are doing the PhD, you will have like 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 year milestones. You have to work for them. You don't have exams, so you have the milestones, like where you usually present, like you do a presentation on your progress, and also you submit a report of the things that you have been doing so far. And apart from that, publications are like a major part of PhD. So like within your PhD tenure, like you should like aim for like 3 or 4 papers. So for that, there will be another set of timelines, like each paper submission deadlines and stuff. So like you have to work for towards them. But if you take a day, like you are flexible. Like I mean, no one would like come and say that like you should work up to these hours. Have you done this? Have you done that? No one would ask that. But it's up to you to identify the problem well that you are solving, and you should have a plan. You should discuss it with your supervisors, and you should keep doing stuff that would result in like a good high quality publication, and also that would help to complete your PhD research.
Thank you. Now, at the moment, we are flooding with questions. So, due to time restrictions, we'll be going through a few other questions. So, Laraki, you mentioned about €3 per sem. What about the other expenses and cost when abroading in your time period?
Yeah. So in terms of tuition fee, it's only €300 per semester for 6 months. And that covers like half of it goes into your transportation ticket. Where for the 6 months you get a semester a travel ticket where you can use all train, buses, and what do you call this, ferries and everything throughout Germany, which is actually a very subsidized version of the normal Deutschland ticket that normal people get. So actually that 300 euros goes into some use actually. And other than that, for the as I mentioned, for your first year of stay here, we had to create a blocked account. That's a requirement when we are applying for the visa. And currently it's 11,208 euros for 1 year. So converted to Sri Lankan rupees. And that amount we have to actually like deposit in a German account, and monthly we get a like divide it by 12 and we get the monthly value of 900 something euro for our finances. And afterwards, once it's gone, you can either create a new blocked account or start doing a working student or a odd job until you get a working student. So that's how the financing goes. Yeah. So there are there are a couple of providers called Fintiba and Expatrio which provide these services, and they have very clear guides on how to do it. Yeah. So those are the things, and it's mandatory for us to have a health insurance also in Germany to pay for it. And yeah, it's automatically deducted. I mean, it can be covered by the amount that we get from the blocked account. So they have taken all that into consideration in defining the figure.
Thank you, Aki. So what are the PhD application periods in a given year in Australia regarding the application to the University for scholarship, or are there multiple seasons?
Yeah, so it depends on the university, but there's a difference when compared with US or UK, because like in US or UK, you usually have like one application window, and it usually falls on December. Like you have to apply by December to start in the next fall. I mean, there are exceptions. There are like some deadlines as well. Anyway, like for example, in University of Melbourne and in our university also the cycles change. But when I applied, there were like 3 or 4. I can't remember exactly, but there are like 3 or 4 cycles. So like there's an application deadline. For example, I applied for a May 31st deadline, and I received my result on like July 1st week or something, like a notice like the announcement date whether you are selected or not. But that's for the university application. For professors, there's like no formal way of contacting professors. Usually you put an email, they would ask for an interview, and goes from there. So that could take that depends on the persons. So that would take weeks or months in each case. But for the university application, there are multiple rounds, and you could align your application with one round. And again, I mean, in certain universities, there are like two separate applications as well. Like for PhD offer, you have to apply first, and then you have to apply for the scholarship again. So in some universities, like the process is divided into 2. But in our university, both the PhD offer and the scholarship are determined by one single application. So there are some differences in different universities.
Thank you. So due to the time limitations, we will have only time to go with one more question. So it's different from the rest of the questions. So the question is it actually manageable to still have your hobbies and extracurricular activities while doing master's or PhD? So
yeah, of course, I mean, for example, like I'm interested in playing badminton and cricket, so I do them regularly. So apart from that, we go on trips and stuff like that. I came to Sri Lanka twice. So like you can manage everything you want. So it's really free. Like I mean, I mean, there's, I mean, I'm not going to like, I mean, there's academic stress, and you should work on towards your goal. And if there's no, I mean, if you are stuck, then there's no point. So like you have to keep doing stuff, experimenting on stuff, and learn something new every day, and work towards your goal. That is there. But at the same time, people are not machines, so you cannot do that every time. So of course, the work-life balance or extracurricular activities, the hobbies and stuff that you like to do, they are really important. So it's mandatory for you to focus on them as well. And as I said before, like there's like no one pressuring you to like only focus on studies, and do this, I want the results by next week. No such things happen, no such things happen. So you are free at your own pace, but again, don't misuse it, because you have a goal and you have things to do, because you won't be granted the PhD by default. You have to show that you have done some significant contribution. So that goal should be always there in my mind. But at the same time, spend your life, because after spending 4 years of your valuable time for bachelor's, if you are extending to could be an MSc or a PhD, but always remember the social and cultural aspects are also really important. So have a balanced balance everything. Yeah.
Yes, so Daraki, anything to add from your end? Is it the same for you?
Well, yes, I still keep on doing the same things that I did back then in Sri Lanka also. So what I have to say is that here, something that I realized is that you decide your own fate, and there's nobody to pet you or say what to do. Like in Sri Lanka, you have at least your parents to say, okay, you have to do this. But when you go abroad, no. So you have to have your own discipline, and as long as you have at the top of your mind, you have that what you came for, you can always enjoy your life. So yeah, in Europe, that's the reason why I came to Europe. So of course you can enjoy.
Thank you, Ayanaki. Now, this marks the end of
sorry, there were a couple of questions. I'll answer them in short. I mean,
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So is first class a must for a PhD? No, I have some friends who have second upper and still gone for PhDs, but first class could be desirable. So there could be professors who would be limiting their student based on first class. So try to get a first class, but if you still have a second upper, try. You could be successful. And how many publications? So that depends on your field, because I have heard stories there are people who have published 10, 15 papers throughout their PhD. But that depends. So there's no a minimum or a maximum kind of thing. But try to publish. More publication does not mean that you have done well, because the quality of the publication also matters, and the venue that you publish. So if you could publish 3, 4 top quality papers, that would be more than sufficient. But then again, if you could do more, that's even better. And if you don't have a first class, it's better to do a MPhil. It could be local or could be abroad as well. And there's a thing called masters by research as well. So even Australian universities offer that. So that could be a way to do some research and up your position, so that you would be get selected to a top university. And the other thing you could do is you could do a RA. So there are institutions and also some universities who offers RA position for 6 months or 1 year or so. So if you could find such position, and while doing that position, if you could publish some good papers, that would be again helpful, securing a good opportunity. And so in USA, there's no such thing as dependent cannot travel with the candidate, but there's a thing called dependent does not have work rights. So if a dependent is traveling with you for US, there's a work restriction, as in the dependent cannot work. So that could be problematic. But in Australia, there's no such thing dependents can work full time. How about in Europe?
Yeah, it's the same case. If you
dependents could work, right?
Yeah, they can work, but just that if you are bringing your dependent, you have to show them that you have financials to support them. But even once they come in, they can work.
Yeah. And after completing the bachelor's degree, how much time? So it varies. You could go to the industry and work for that a while and apply for PhDs as well, or you could straight away apply. But I usually recommend like apply after getting the transcript, because in most of the cases like you need the transcript. But nowadays people are applying even before finishing your studies. I mean, if it works, no worries. But like it's better if you have the transcript, because that's needed. But to find the professors and for the application window, it usually takes around like 4 to 6 months. So plan ahead. So yeah, I think that's it. I covered almost
Yeah, I
everything.
think, and there was another
But
question which asked like, can you go for MSc after BTech? So I'm not really sure because I did not look into that option, but always going to the university websites, because for each program they ask for which requirements they're looking for. So some programs I think they still accept BTech. You can.
and I missed one, like yeah, so doing a final year project in the same field is definitely valuable if you are doing the PhD or masters in the same field. For example, I'm also doing the same thing. Like for my FIP, I did an computer vision based project for self-driving, and he also somewhat similar for the intelligent transportation systems domain. But that does not mean like you have to limit yourself. Like if you want to change, you could always change. For example, like for intern, I did robotics, but for my FIP, it was somewhat different. I focused on computer vision, and he also a bit different, but somewhat related to the transport domain. So it's good, like if you could continue or the extend your FIP into a PhD or master's thesis, because like you have the you know some stuff, and the experience would help you to get into a good position. But that's not mandatory. You could change as well. Yeah, back to you. Sorry for the time.
It's fine. Thank you for covering almost all the questions. And I'm pretty sure listeners are thrilled to get answers to their questions. So with that, we can mark the end of the session. So my sincere thanks go to our speakers for taking time out of their busy schedules to share their valuable experiences with us. Now let me invite Mr. Manit Gulshan, the co-chair of Beyond the Bachelor, to deliver the word of thanks.
Thank you, Chamali. First and foremost, I extend my deepest gratitude to our distinguished guest speakers, Mr. Oshada Jayasinghe and Mrs. Udara Mendis. Your presence here today, despite your busy schedules, is greatly appreciated. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights and knowledge with us. Your contributions have greatly enriched our event. I also wish to express my sincere thanks to the representatives of IET Young Professionals Sri Lanka and the IET on Campus University of Peradeniya committee members. Your support and efforts have been crucial to success of this event. A heartfelt thanks goes to the organizing committee. Your hard work and dedication made this event a success, and we are deeply grateful for your commitment. Finally, I want to thank all the participants who joined with us today. Your enthusiasm and engagement have been essential to making this event a success. I hope you gain valuable insights that will positively impact in your future academic journeys. Wishing you all continued success in your academic pursuits. Thank you. Over to you, Chamal.
Thank you. Now, this marks the conclusion of our second session, Beyond the Bachelor. We extend our heartfelt thanks to everyone who joined us on this journey. So as we bring this session to a close, we bid you farewell and wish you continued success in all your endeavors. Thank you once again for being a part of this insightful series. Good night, everyone.